Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a really fascinating paradox that's brewing in the NHL's Eastern Conference. We've got a stack of sources you sent in detailing this unexpected shift in the hierarchy, and it's redefining one of the biggest rivalries in hockey. Our focus is on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, they're on a great run, a 6-0-2 stretch, and they've climbed back into contention after a pretty shaky start. But here's the rub. They're still just fighting to make the playoffs. Meanwhile, their biggest rival, the Montreal Canadiens, are somehow challenging for the top spot in the entire conference.
It's a total collision of reputation versus reality, isn't it? For years, the Leafs have been seen as this offensive powerhouse.
Yeah.
You know, the team with all the high-end talent that you just expect to be at the top. So our mission today is to try and reconcile that reputation with where they actually are right now.
Quick reminder for Leafs Nation, if you're a diehard Toronto fan and you're still bleeding blue and white, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It's the best way to stay updated every single day on our journey.
The regular season heavyweight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, we need to figure out why so many experts are looking at Montreal's success not as a blip, but as a sign of a real long-term structural advantage.
Which is huge, considering Montreal hasn't finished ahead of Toronto in, a decade?
A decade. It's a massive development.
And to really underscore how tight this all is, the current standings show this incredible coincidence. There's only 1 point separating the Leafs from a playoff spot.
Right.
And at the same time, only 1 point separates the Canadiens from first place in the entire East.
That razor-thin margin is what makes this so compelling. It creates the perfect tension for our deep dive.
So is Toronto's run just them getting back to where they should be, or are they about to really surge?
And on the other side, how much stock do we put in Montreal being this good? Is it for real?
Okay, let's unpack this, and let's start with Toronto. Their good run is nice, but that bad start still looms. So where do the Leafs realistically rank in the East right now? Our sources show this clear split between the glass half full crowd and the skeptics.
And that positive view is really rooted in Toronto's history, isn't it? It's this idea that, they're a talented team, and even when they struggle, they'll find a way.
So that glass half full thinking puts the Leafs where? Just outside of the top 5 is what the sources say, basically knocking on the door.
Right. And they justify that by listing all the teams they think Toronto is clearly better than, starting in their own division, the Atlantic.
Okay, so who are they putting the Leafs ahead of?
Well, Detroit, Buffalo, Boston, and Ottawa. The case against Detroit is interesting because on paper, the Red Wings have been better.
In the standings, yeah.
But the argument is that Detroit's success isn't sustainable. First, there are big questions about their goaltending depth. That could be a real Achilles heel down the stretch.
And second,
Detroit has what one source calls a bear of a schedule coming up.
A bear of a schedule, so just a really brutal stretch of games.
A brutal stretch. Lots of road games, tons of matchups against top 10 teams. The thinking is that will bring Detroit back down to earth and let Toronto leapfrog them.
And what about Buffalo? Or Ottawa?
With Buffalo, they're saying a good 3 or 4 weeks isn't enough to say they're better than the Leafs' overall talent pool. And the take on Ottawa is pretty brutal.
So that can't get a save.
Yeah. Until they fix that, they're just not in the same conversation as Toronto.
Okay, so that's the Atlantic. Then they move over to the Metro Division.
And the optimistic view puts the Leafs ahead of the Islanders, New Jersey, the Rangers, the 2 Pennsylvania teams. Pretty much everyone.
The Islanders comparison seems to be the most contentious one, though.
It is. The sources admit the Islanders have elite talent, like their goalies Sorokin and Schaefer up front. But they argue that without Sorokin's heroics, the team's structure is weak. They just don't think they'd be anywhere near the playoffs without him.
So the argument is that the Islanders' success is basically a one-man show.
That's the optimistic take, yeah. So if you believe all that, Leafs are sitting pretty, just outside that top 5, waiting for other teams to hit a rough patch.
But then we hit the skeptic wall.
And it's a big wall. This perspective just dismisses that optimism as wishful thinking. It puts the Leafs closer to a wild card 2 type of team.
So 8th or 9th in the East.
8th or 9th. And this is where the analysis gets really sharp, because the skeptics go right at that Islanders assessment.
How so?
They point to a specific number. The Islanders are 4th in the entire league in goals against per game. That's not just one goalie, that's great team defense.
So they're saying that stability is a much better predictor of success than Toronto's high-flying, high-variance offense.
Exactly. and they do the same thing with Detroit. The optimists worry about Detroit's future goaltending, but the skeptics are looking at their offense right now.
With Kane and DeBrincat in there.
Right. With Kane, DeBrincat, and Larkin, they argue Detroit's forward depth is just flat out better than Toronto's at this moment. So the debate is clear. Are the Leafs the sixth best team, or are they really fighting just to stay on the playoff bubble at 8th or 9th?
And that uncertainty leads us right into the second part of our dive, the Montreal Canadiens. Because no matter which side you're on, no source we saw suggests the Leafs are better than the Habs right now.
Which is shocking. Genuinely shocking.
It is, and it raises the big question. Is what Montreal is doing just a short-term blip, or are we seeing a fundamental, maybe even permanent shift in this rivalry?
And the analysis we're seeing leans heavily towards a fundamental shift. The sources suggest this was almost structurally inevitable, and that right now Montreal is just the better team.
Okay, so why are they so sure this is a long-term thing and not just a hot streak?
It all boils down to team construction. The sources talk about the Leafs facing serious structural burdens.
And that's more than just losing a few games.
Oh, much more. It's about the age of their core players and, critically, their defense, which struggles with mobility. Most of their salary cap is tied up in a few older players on massive contracts.
So there's no flexibility.
Zero flexibility. It makes it almost impossible to plug holes, especially on defense, without blowing the whole thing up.
Yeah.
That's why the issues feel so permanent.
So Toronto has this high-priced talent, but it comes with a ton of baggage and an aging curve that's starting to look a little worrying.
Exactly. And then you look at Montreal.
And how are they structured?
They are built for what the sources call sustained success. They have an amazing cap structure, none of those crippling long-term deals. They're loaded with good young players on cheap contracts.
Which gives the GM all the power.
Tremendous financial flexibility. And they have a great foundation already with their top four on defense and, of course, their captain, Nick Suzuki.
Let's dig into that core comparison, because this detail about player impact really shows the shift. I mean, coming into the season, everyone just assumed Toronto was stronger down the middle.
Everyone did, and that perception has completely flipped based on what we're seeing this year.
How so?
The source material explicitly notes that the young center, Oliver Caron, is having more of a real-time impact on the game than John Tavares.
More of an impact than Tavares. That's a huge statement.
It is. But they're saying Kadir's speed, his two-way game.
Yeah.
It's just outpacing Tavares' production and overall influence right now. And that completely undermines one of Toronto's biggest selling points.
Their strength down the middle, which was supposed to be a huge advantage.
And now it might not be. And Montreal's closing that depth gap everywhere else, too. They're no longer just a top-line type team.
They're getting healthy. Right.
They are. They expect Kirby Dach back soon, Jake Evans will return, and they've got Dino Sean Monahan playing well for them. All of a sudden, they can roll three really effective lines.
And the future looks even better, especially on defense. What are we seeing in their prospect pipeline?
The sources are incredibly optimistic. They single out a prospect, Lane Hudson, a dynamic offensive defenseman.
The partner at Gooley.
That's the one. He has been fantastic. He's on a pace where he could get well over 80 points this season.